You want a huge tax refund? I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it for free. And people charge big money for workshops and trainings regarding this information. But I'm going to give it to you for free because I'm feeling really generous because, it was just Christmas a couple weeks ago. And here it is. You want a big tax refund? Simply just have more withheld from your paychecks or make higher estimated payments. That's really the biggest driver. I know. It's not the sexiest answer that you could have heard. You probably were hoping to hear something like, qualified deductions or credits that you may be able to take. And the reality is, these are usually easier said than done because there truly are workshops and trainings out there that people pay for that the content is really just about changing your W 4 to have more withheld, which to me is an outright scam. Because, like I mentioned a few seconds ago, usually the biggest driver for large refunds is simply just overpaying what you actually needed to. So, for example, let's say your tax liability came out to uh, 9,000 bucks, but your actual withholdings came out to $10,000. So, if you actually paid out $10,000 instead of $9,000, then I think we all know that this $1,000 gap gets refunded back to you. Now, notice how I call it a refund and everyone calls it a refund? Well, if we just looked at this simple example, we're just getting our change back. So going back to that example, how can we make sure we get a larger refund? Because maybe $1,000 isn't going to cut it. Well, again, we can talk about lowering your tax liability by taking deductions and credits, but usually that involves tax planning and strategic, that's specifically for you. But the reality is the more simple way is to just bump up your withholdings. So there we go. Maybe our tax liability stays at 9,000, but next year our withholdings was 14,000. Well, heck yeah, that's a $5,000 refund for $5,000 getting your change back. That's great. Well, no, not really, because again, think of the trade-off. We're talking about withholding. So yeah, even though your refund went up, your paychecks went down. You see, it's a seesaw. Now, listen, I hope that if anything that you watching this video actually sticks with you, I hope it's this. I would think that you would rather have that $5,000 throughout the year, throughout each paycheck, rather than having to wait and get it all at once. Even though some people are going to be like, well, I'd rather have $5,000 all at once. But again, proper budgeting would say, okay, why don't we take that $5,000 that you could have gotten as a refund and divide it into however many times you get paid. So again, whatever 5,000 is divided by 26, assuming that you get paid biweekly, that's how much your paychecks could have gone up by. Now, again, some people are going to argue, I really just have the $5,000 all at once. And again, that's kind of completely up to you. But again, strategically, from a finance perspective, it's better just to have your paychecks just done right. That way, you're not overpaying and having to wait until next tax season to get it, which again, we all know the IRS isn't going to pay interest on that money that they held.